timer. Hold on. There we go. All right. This lecture is the population dealing with learning disorders. So we are not talking about people that are cognitively challenged. A learning disorder, again, if you want to write this down, it's a significant discrepancy between their intellectual potential and their actual academic performance. You've probably maybe heard of that before. A significant discrepancy between their intellectual potential, that's their IQ, and their actual academic performance. That means this person has all the capabilities to be doing great in school, but for some reason their test scores are not showing that for some reason. And it's not because there's any cognitive challenge, there's no physical challenge, all right? This term learning disorder is an umbrella term. If a student says to me, Mrs. Egan, I have a learning disorder, my next question is, what is it? Because there's so many of them, and they each require their own different, unique way of learning. There's nothing wrong intellectually with anyone that has a learning disorder. But there are some challenges that they just need to learn in different ways. And sometimes they have their own coping techniques to help them learn. Dyslexia, probably the most known. Dyslexia, again, meaning that they get letters and numbers inverted. Some people with dyslexia may see whole words backwards and may prefer to even read from right to left. So if you get letters inverted or patterns, some people with dyslexia even get patterns. So even the street lights can be confusing, the patterns. There's also reading that would be affected, spelling, math, writing, all those subject areas because of one learning disorder, which doesn't affect IQ, but would definitely have an impact on their actual academic performance. I'm going to mention some other ones. Developmental reading disorder. That means everything's fine for the student, but for some reason, basic sight words, basic beginning reading skills are challenged. There's another one called developmental arithmetic disorder. It's also called dyscalculia. Let me spell that. I think that's on a test for you under dyscalculia. D-Y-S-C-A-L-C-U-L-I-A, dyscalculia. Which is developmental arithmetic disorder, means that everything's fine for this person, but for some reason, beginning math skills are a challenge. There's also something called dysgraphia, which I seem to be seeing more of. Dysgraphia, D-Y-S, the word graph, I-A, and that is a fine motor challenge. And you would see it if someone were to hold a pencil. I have a pencil here. So it's seen in like handwriting, which it is a bit unfair that we ask someone to hold a little pencil in their hand to show us how smart they are, right? When we put things in writing and people see if you have bad handwriting, sometimes people will assume like, ooh, that's kind of bad handwriting. I wonder if everything's okay, which again, it's just a fine motor skill. Also, if someone has dysgraphia, if they were to write a report, they probably would use fewer words, fewer details. It wouldn't be that involving of a paper. But if you were to ask them to describe to you about a movie, they would give you full details. But if you would ask them to put that in writing, even typing, some people with dysgraphia find typing to be better, but they might use this hunt and peck with one finger because typing requires fine motor. But sometimes people find that typing is better, but again, typing is fine motor as well. Another disorder is called perseveration disorder. Perseveration disorder. It means a person has a hard time going from one task to the next. It could be going from math to recess, a person would still struggle because their brain's finally on this math, working on math. And then someone's saying, hey, put your pencils down, we're going to go outside for a recess. A person might actually struggle with that if they have perseveration disorder. They need lots more cueing, reminding them about structure and patterns, and letting them know that we're going to go to recess after this. Perseveration disorder is also found in a later lecture on autism and the autistic spectrum. It's one of the spectrums. It is very common for someone with autism to have perseveration disorder. Hot topic, ADD, ADHD. For this course, for music therapists, we do not consider that a learning disability in itself. Please understand me when I say I do understand people have ADD and ADHD and the struggles and the challenges that causes. But for this class, and I think it is a test question, we do not consider that a learning disorder. What we consider that, if we meet someone that says they have ADD, ADHD, our next question is, I wonder if you have an underlying learning disorder. Because a lot of times people are coping with a learning disorder, which causes them to be highly distracted, maybe hyperactive even, because they're dealing with another. So again, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but in general terms, we do not consider that a learning disorder in itself. It might accompany other learning disorders. So again, hot topic, I know, we could discuss that all day, but for this course in music therapists, it's to us a little red flag to dig a little bit deeper and see if there is a learning disorder. Causes, I just want to mention for this class again that there are some genetic factors because it is hard to test someone for a learning disorder. Some people do not even know that they have a learning disorder until they get to high school or even college because it's so hard to test. But there are some signs that could help us. There are genetic factors. If you have parents that have dyslexia, that might be a little bit of a red flag for you. It could also be pregnancy issues, that means drug, alcohol, tobacco use. Environmental factors, and I want to mention, is people that have exposures to toxins like lead poisoning or allergic reactions to foods, but more common now would be children that have gone through radiation. Maybe before they've had radiation, they were doing fine at school, and then they come back to school, and praise God, cancer's gone. But now you might find a student who's struggling with beginning math skills that they hadn't been before. Just so you know, if you're working with someone in this situation, that could be what has happened, an environmental factor. There are some special considerations and goals. If you're working with someone that has a learning disorder, here are the goals. They have 3. Academic, obviously we're going to help them with their academic skills in school. Emotional, this person might be dealing with low self-esteem, frustration, or maybe even hyperactivity due to it, the learning disorder. And then social skills. Someone with a learning disorder might shy away from social settings. And then the last list I want to tell you is special considerations. People that are having a learning disorder that they're dealing with, they have it for the rest of their life. There's no cure for this. They learn to manage it if they're given proper tools. They need a multi-sensory approach. Music is multi-sensory. So we can work with reading, writing, math skills, all in very unique musical ways. They need few distractions and time to process. There you have it for our lecture on learning disorders.